Hello, YouTube. This is going to be kind of a tough video to make because I don't know. I guess my heart's a little heavy here. Um, I'm seeing some crazy things going on in our YouTube community. Brothers and sisters fighting with each other and pointing fingers, and you know, in my other videos I mentioned how the enemy is united, and it looks to me like the flock is scattered and running in multiple directions, and it's just crazy. um, you know, and what gets me is those of us that are believers and really know the Lord know the power that's at our disposal in His name. In His name. And, you know, those of us that know Him know pretty much what we can ask for and what we can't, because we know His character, at least to some degree, because it's written right in the Word. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about how everyone is spending a lot of time talking about the symptoms of the disease and not how to cure the disease itself. You know, we talk about the chemtrails and we talk about the GMO foods, and we talk about the lying and the thieving and the stolen elections and the military build-up against the citizens of the United States and buying the rounds of ammunition and, you know, the TSA checkpoints and the vaccines and you know, all the problems, the fish deaths, the animal deaths, the storms. But what I think people fail to realize is that God is using these evil people to judge America. And He's trying to wake us up. And, you know, some of us are kind of getting there, but yet we're denying the power that we have at our disposal. And the Bible talked about this in 2 Timothy chapter 3. It says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away." I think that kind of puts things in perspective. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. So We're spending all this time talking about all these problems, yet we're denying the power. We're denying that we have the solution, that we can draw on the power of God if we're walking with Him and make a change in this world. Remember the story of how the apostles and Jesus were in the boat, they're crossing the sea, and the storm came, and the waves were breaking over the side of the boat, and the apostles were all freaked out, and they woke Jesus up, and one of the first things he said is, "Where is your faith?" It's the same thing with Peter when he asked they saw Jesus walking on the water, and he says, "Well, if it's you, Lord, let me come out." And he says, "Sure, come on." And he gets out there, and it's all good, and he starts looking around, he starts looking at the waves, and next thing you know, he starts to sink. There's a message there. He took his eyes off the Lord. And I think the church is doing that too. I think that we're spending a lot of time looking at the problems. And I'm not saying to ignore the problems. And I'm not saying not to prepare for what's coming. Jesus himself said, sell your coat and get yourself a sword or two. So we are to be prepared. He gave us warnings and whatnot, but we're not to spend all of our time focusing on the problems and denying the power thereof. Again, as 2 Timothy 3 says. So, faith can move mountains. I mean, look at what David did. A little shepherd boy. And, when everybody else was horrified, and he killed a giant, he went down to the brook, he gathered 5 smooth stones, put them in his shepherd's pouch, and went out and whapped that giant right upside the head with a stone. and then that insult to injury, he took his own sword and cut his head off, which is what you got to do to a Nephilim, by the way. Which brings me to another point. You guys are stocking up on your ammo, and hopefully you're already stocked up. You need to make sure you've got some solid copper ammunition. This is going to be very important in the future. That's another video, but just make sure you got that. So also, again, we're spending all this time talking about the problems, the symptoms of the disease. My skin itches. I've got spots on me. I've got this. I've got that. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're stealing this. They're trying to do this. They're, come on. What is the disease? Identify the disease. Identify the disease. It's called sin. Then identify the cure. It's called Jesus Christ. Come on, guys. Remember, Jesus in the boat turned around and looked at the apostles. What did he say? Where is your faith? So I'm going to say that to you guys today. I know some of you got it. So those that do, please don't be offended. I'm talking to the ones that are struggling a little bit. I'm asking, where is your faith? Okay? You can't always walk by sight. Here's another story in the Bible, 2 Kings 6. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host encompassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servants said to him, Alas, my master, How shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened his eyes of the young man, and he saw, and beheld, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire around about Elisha. You get it? You get it? If you're walking with the Lord, doesn't the Bible say that the angels of the Lord encampus and surround those that fear him? Okay. Now we know the Lord does not lie. So, if you're walking with the Lord, you've got protection and you've got power at your disposal. So, you know, it's good to wake people up and it's good to talk about the problems sometimes. But to the degree that it gets under your skin so much that you start nitpicking on your other brothers and sisters, and you allow the enemy's divide and conquer tactic to come in and effectively scatter the sheep. That's what's going on. So this message is about reconnecting with the source of your strength and being worthy to use his power and authority so that we can stand and we can fend off those fiery darts and those imaginations and cast those things out that seem to kind of overwhelm us at times. So, you're not alone. Just like Elijah, you've got this huge multitude of angels around you at any given time. You can call out to the Lord at any given time. Therefore, you're weak only because you want to be weak. You're not using the tools at your disposal. So let's work on getting back into the Word, focusing on what God has to say about the situation, applying His Word to the current events, and let's get these bums, let's get rid of them. I mean, there's way more of us than there are of them. I mean, like, way. Not only that, but the support that we have is way more powerful than the support that they have. Get it? So don't look at the waves. Look at Jesus. Look at the source of our strength. Look at what he's done for us. We can do this, people. Come on. Come on. Are you sharing the Lord? Are you in the Word? Are you meditating on that Word? Are you looking and thinking of how you can apply that in your life? If not, that's a big part of the problem. Gird your loins with the Word. Put on your armor. Stop acting like, some little weaklings. You're embarrassing our Lord. No doubt the enemy is mocking, mocking us to our Creator. The Bible talks about how Satan stands and constantly accuses us to the Lord. I mean, don't you think that that's got to get kind of old to God? Put yourself in his position. Satan's trying to prove a point that we're not worthy. And so don't make his point for him. You know, stand up. You got what it takes. You were given what it takes. You got to use it. Okay? Use it. Looking forward to your comments. Thanks, guys.